No Fishing is brought to you by Culprit, confidence with every cast. Phoenix Boats, experience the difference. And Power Pole, swift, silent, secure.
So today we're fishing around the spawn. We're kind of late spawn. It's early May, it's a full moon, but we've had a rash of cold weather kind of mid-April, so I'm thinking maybe it held off the fish a little bit, so maybe they'll still be around beds and spawning. So we're out here on a dock lake today, tons of docks, and these are good lakes to fish around the spawn because they're typically stable water, clear water, easier to see the beds and the fish. So let's see what we can do.
Dustin spends the first 2 hours of the morning getting the fish dialed in. Not satisfied with the size of fish or the techniques he is using, Dustin decides to keep on fishing fast until something sticks. Dustin begins catching fish on docks with a jig and Culprit Incredislim. While Dustin is catching fish, he is all over the map and approach, catching one here and one there on virtually everything in his tackle box and on every kind of cover. It is when Dustin pulls out his trusty frog and discovers the fish are on isolated wood that things really begin to brighten up.
Oh, right there's a bass sitting right on top of that stump right there. He's still. That was cool. He was turning all over the place after that thing. I spotted a little dark spot, which looked like a good spot to throw a topwater bait to. That was awesome. I could see that fish just like looking at it, looking at it, looking at it. And he finally got situated to where he could get it. That was a good one. When I was coming out of that cove, I saw one sitting right on top of that stump. It was a little guy, and then there was another stump directly in front of the boat. And I pitched this thing in front of it, and sure enough, there was a good one on that one. It was a little bit deeper. There's a little one on that shallow stump. I think they're so aggressive now, they should bite this floating worm. Just got that out of my mouth. When I first started this morning, they were very sluggish. They weren't even fighting very good. And a dramatic turnaround as the water's gotten warm. So what I'm doing here, and this is pretty typical for when you get on a pattern, is you'll get two dominant baits. And one's good in the wind and one's good where it's calm. And to me, a frog is at its best when it's calm or very little wind. And the floating worm normally works better with a little bit of breeze. So when I'm getting further out onto the points, I'm throwing the floating worm and back in the pockets where it's calm out of the wind, frog, and it seems to be a really good 1-2 punch right now. Oh. Floating worm. Golly, the springtime. The sunshine and the afternoon makes all the difference. I'm officially verifying the 10 o'clock rule that I've got. I'm gonna change it to 3 o'clock. I'm not gonna be on the water till at least 3 o'clock from now on in the spring.
No Fishing is brought to you by Culprit Lures, Phoenix Boats, and Power Pole.
So let me show you the two baits I'm using today. When the wind was blowing or the stumps were a little bit deeper or just skipping around, I was throwing a Culprit T-Rex. I call it a floating worm because I'm using it weightless, and the other is a frog. And both baits move forward slowly, and these fish are around beds, and you don't want a bait that goes too fast until later during the post-spawn when they become reactionary. So these fish stay around a small area for a longer period of time and are excellent around the spawn. So I've come way, way up the creek here, and the water's hot. It's not affected by the main lake current at all. And the water's 76 degrees back here. We even got algae blooms going on. So I'm imagining these fish are total post-spawn. And you know, hopefully there's some stuck around shallow and they'll just be feeding. I'll give it a little bit and see. I was doubting myself, I almost left. I made a long cast to the corner of that dock, caught one. I did the exact same thing a few weeks ago at another lake. I was doubting myself and made a last minute cast and caught one. Happens all the time. Maybe I need to keep doubting myself. Good luck. That's the thing about fishing a big reservoir like this is if you want to find a certain type of water, you can almost always do it. Just, I mean, this looks like something you'd see in Florida right here with all the shallow weeds and real shallow stained water. It's the same. If I drive the boat 15 miles south of here, I've got crystal clear water. You can see 5-6 feet down. I've opted to fish the stain water today because it's so bright. Would have been a really good day to sight fish, but it can be hard to actually catch the fish when it's so bright outside. Good. Oh, he doesn't have it. Oh gosh, that's how they can come on, eat that thing. Oh, I got it. Swirled. Oh, never had it. I'm about to cut the legs off of this thing. Let's trim them down. Well, I've gone from fishing docks this morning to like almost a completely natural looking bank here. And I'm getting bites like crazy, and I believe they're on beds and they're just pushing it away. I'm not hooking up with them very good. So I'm gonna keep going. I might switch to the floating worm here in a bit if I keep getting these half-hearted bites. I've been seeing a lot of them and they're good ones, like 3-4 pounders. They just seem like they came up and pushed the legs away. But I trimmed the legs down. Let's see if I can get some more bites now with the legs shorter. Shortened up those legs and one finally ate it, but he ate it really good. Skinny little male. Oh, we got it. Saw him coming from a distance. Another little male. The males have gotten really aggressive here late in the day. Finally connecting with them. I had a little bout of missing a bunch of fish. Oh, that was a nice one right there. Yes. Pulled out the old popper right before dark. See, the phase that we're in with this water temperature and it being May, there's fish moving out and starting to feed, and right before dark's always a really good time to chunk topwater. Especially because it becomes really hard to see targets for bed fishing. It's really hard to see the stumps and the little light spots, so something that you can fish a little faster is good. Oh gosh. Yeah. I saw the wave coming from him under that dock. He came unglued and got that thing. Man. Nothing like a topwater bite. So today was a really fun day. I caught lots of fish. But the main thing that I took away from today is to fish a bait slowly in a confined area where I think there's a bed. Anytime you're fishing in the spring, even if you can't see the fish on beds, they still want something that it makes them mad, that's close to them, that's going slow. So the T-Rex floating worm, the frog, the jig, anything I could fish slow in a small area was key today. So now you know.